Hello and welcome to the latest episode of Toy Geek Maniac. I am your host, Chad Thomas. So today I'm going to give a little bit of history as far as my love of Batgirl. And to begin with, I'm not a huge fan of a lot of DC characters. When I was young, there were reruns of the Batman TV show, which introduced me to Batgirl. And I was just like, yeah, she's my kind of hero. I definitely like her. So I had acquired some comics in my youth, and a lot of them were DC, and I got to see Batgirl in there, and that was really, for the most part, at that time, all I really cared about was Batgirl, Batman, and then maybe Superman, because the Superman films were pretty popular from my youth. So that was kind of it, and there were so many integral stories at the time that I just felt lost, and I didn't really much care at that point. So I gave up on the comics until many years later. In 1989, the movie Batman came out, and that just kind of reignited everything that I loved about seeing Batman, but in a darker version, which I wasn't familiar with. So this movie was phenomenal, and I was like, yes, this is really cool. So I decided that I was going to get back into Batman comics, and I've already been well versed. Oh, wait, no, take that back. I started on Batman and kind of went from there and evolved into X-Men in the early 90s. But I still had an attachment to Batman and Batgirl. I was definitely very curious of where her trajectory was going to go. So there was the Killing Joke, and I think at that point I was pretty much done with DC until a little bit later when they launched Catwoman on her own solo series. But we're talking about Batgirl here, so let me talk a little bit more about her. I've been fascinated with her since I was little. I have a thing for redheads, female redheads. It's, Batgirl, it's Ariel, it's Scarlet from G.I. Joe, Phoenix, Jean Grey. Those are major aspects of pop culture that I love with female redheads. And so, obviously, Batgirl was something that was drawn to me. So, after the animated series, there were comics, and then it got to be that there was finally a movie that featured her, played by Alicia Silverstone. And after that, as far as film goes, there wasn't much exposure to her. Now, on the animated series, she eventually became a pretty major character, which I thought was great. And that kind of boosted up my love for Batgirl. And nowadays, I've seen a lot of her in direct-to-video animation, and things like that. And I know that DC does these multiverse stories. So, in the continuity that I was used to, Barbara Gordon, aka Batgirl, got shot in the spine by Joker, was paralyzed, and eventually became Oracle, the cyber genius that aids Batman and his team. So I don't know really from that point what has happened to her. I know DC shifts things around pretty often, and which is fine, but it's appeared to me that lately, over the last few years, that Barbara Gordon in regular continuity had never come across the Joker, and he hadn't shot her through the spine. Be it as it may, I don't know. I can't say. But anyhow, I've been collecting Batgirl action figures over time, and I'm gonna give you a look as to what I have, what I have had, and what I still have. So I'll give you a little 30-second trip to look at that. So now that it's 2020, there's been a line by McFarlane Toys that focuses on the DC Multiverse, and there's one of Batgirl, and it is Batgirl from Art of the Crime. So I don't know if this is regular continuity, if it's a multiverse, or whatnot, but she looks amazing. So I'm going to open her up and take a look at her articulation, the detail that comes with her and her weapons. And McFarlane does a really good job with their figures. So I know I won't be disappointed. Taking her out of the package, she's got a stand down there, much like Wonder Woman 1984, which I already possess. And then there's a trading card that's also back there. So I'm going to take those out of the package. The trading card features awesome art. I'm not sure who the artist is, if it lists it at all on the back. There's information galore in the very back of the card. I would read it to you, but I do not have my glasses on because of the light ring that causes far too much glare. So then I'm going to release her stand. Alright, so here is the DC Multiverse version of Batgirl, the Art of the Crime. And just a little bit of showing off how she looks up close. I think I would prefer her hair to be a little bit more red than the orange tone, but that's just me, because I love my redheads. Alright, so now we're going to take a look at the articulation. This figure boasts 22 points of articulation. So let's see where they're at. Her head does go side to side. Oh, it can go all the way around. It is possible. You can kind of get a downward look. Not so much on the upper look. The cape is not removable, but it doesn't hinder at all with a lateral lift in the arms. So we definitely have 360 in the shoulder. She does not have a bicep turn. Oh wait, no, nope, it's just the shoulder. And when I get there, she does have a nice double jointed elbow. The hand is 360 and up. Yes. Oops, it just popped out. Okay, so the hand has a weird joint. You have to be very delicate. It can move up, it can move down, but if you go too far, it's gonna pop off. There's a hinge here. That is very different from any figure that I've ever seen. It doesn't seem that it gives much movement before popping off. That is a little disappointing. We do have a 360-degree turn in the torso. A little bit of a crunch to the front. A little bit of a crunch to the back. And getting some details from the back of her costume. There is no turn in the waist, and her utility belt is stationary. We've got a fairly decent lateral lift, which is very nice because Batgirl is supposed to be extremely flexible. So getting her into those action poses is very important. So there's pretty much probably about a 45-degree turn in the thigh. There is no hip, a little tweaking. So she does have a very nice bendable knee, double jointed. And then we're going to take a look at her feet. There is no boot turn on her feet. She's got these magnificent boots. Her feet do rock side to side. There's a nice forward up motion, an excellent forward down motion, and also a nice toe, which is excellent. I really do not like this wrist joint at all. I feel like I have to be amazingly careful that it doesn't pop out because it's so fragile. And see, just by moving it a pinch, it popped out again. Okay, finally got it back on once again, and I'm really terrified to put anything into her hands. Oh, they could have done so much better with that. However, she does have two accessories. Right here, she has a gold batarang, which fits alright in her right hand, but definitely not the left. She's got a frozen in motion grappling hook that can fit into her left hand. So that is nice. I'll see if it works as well in her right hand. It does work well in her right hand as well, so that makes... If you want to use both accessories, you have to put the grappling gun in the left and the batarang on the right. So overall, the aesthetic of Batgirl is right on. This is exactly how I love my Batgirl. In a classic kind of uniform. There's, a few little updates here and there. The cape doesn't get in the way, which is really nice, and it kind of, you can push it back a little bit, but it doesn't hinder the movement at all. The articulation is astounding, except for the flawed hands. I'm so disappointed with that. And making it to the point that you can only put the batarang in one hand, but the right hand will hold both weapons that she has. Alright, so that is my review of McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Batgirl, The Art of Crime. I thank you so much for watching this episode. We certainly appreciate it. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell when you want to be notified when we upload a video. It's gonna be a little while here. My husband and I are moving to a bigger place, so we're kind of dismantling things, and then once we get everything set back up, videos will resume. But don't forget that there's plenty of other content here on Running Slim Productions YouTube channel. Once again, we appreciate every single watch, every single subscribe, every single like, every single dislike. We appreciate it when you comment while the video is running. And as always, love and light to you all.